Parsha of the week. This is Parshas Kitisa.
Naso.
Hi, Parshas Naso. I'm sorry, not Naso. I'm sorry. I got the little idea of lifting up. Parshas Naso. What can I do? Parshas Naso, not Kipri. Both of them mean lifting up. That's what I think. In this week's Parsha, there are 18 commandments. 18 commandments in this week's Parsha. And I'd like to go over some of the most outstanding ones. This, by the way, is the longest Parsha in the Torah. It's the longest single Parsha in the whole entire Torah. One reason is because it contains, in the end of it, it's talking about what all of the heads of the tribes brought, 12 tribes. And when the Mishkan was finished on the first day of Nisan, almost a year after the Jews left Egypt, as each one of the 12 tribes brought an inauguration offering. And all of them brought exactly the same thing. We'll go over what they are. And before that, though, we have some interesting things over here. First of all, we have the most outstanding is we have the commandment of the Nazir and the commandment of the Sota. A Nazir is a person that takes on himself, either man or woman. They take a vow of a Nazir, not to eat wine, not to defile themselves for a dead person, not to cut their hair. We'll learn about that, God willing. And then there's the commandment also of the Sota. The Sota is a woman who her husband suspects her of infidelity. He has no proof, but he has grounds for suspicion. And there's a whole procedure that is done with such a woman. So let me just read off some of the 18 commandments that are in this week's portion. I'm reading from a book which is called Mitzvot Hashem. Mitzvot Hashem. All right, we have 7 positive commandments and 11 negative commandments in this week's Torah portion. First of all, I'll just read them off to you. Positive commandment to send out, to evict all impure people from the camp of Israel. Like it says, V'yishlachu min ha'machana called Tzuruv, called Zav, called Tamei Nefesh. And also, you should not allow any impure person to come into the temple. Into the temple. All right, I'll just say something very simple here. A good and interesting explanation. There were what's called three camps. Each one was surrounding the other one. There was the innermost camp. That was called the innermost camp. That was the Machane Shechina. That was the camp of the Shechina. That was where the tabernacle was, and where Moshe and the Levites, Moshe and his sons and the Levites. Then outside of that, it was called the Machane Leviim. It was the camp of the Levites. That's what I'm sorry. There was the Shechina. Then there was where the Levites camped. That was around and then there was Saviv LeMishkan Yechanu. And then there was, outside of that, there was where all the other camps were. All the other 12 tribes were. 4 camps, and each camp had 3 tribes in it, which we learned last week. Okay, that's the when it says that they have to be sent out, the same thing also was when the Beis HaMikdash was built. When the Beis HaMikdash was built, there were, corresponding to the 3 camps that were there, we have Jerusalem up until Har HaBayis. That's the outermost camp. Until Har HaBayis. Then that's like Machane Yisrael. Then the Har HaBayit, where the Beit HaMikdash, the Har, where the mountain is, until the entrance of the temple. And then the temple itself, that's called Machane Shechina. So the same thing we have nowadays also. So that's what it says, that a Metzora has to be sent out from all of the camps. Chutz, outside of Yerushalayim. Nowadays it's outside of Yerushalayim. All in his tumas mi chamura. Right. Anyone who has a heavy type of impurity, like a tzora, he has to be sent outside of all these three camps. And of course, they're not allowed in the temple. Positive commandment that a person who sins should do tshuva. Very important commandment. Very important commandment. Tshuva. A person that sins has to repent, and if he repents, then he's forgiven for his sins. Depends on what type of a sin. Sometimes they have to bring a sacrifice. Sometimes they have to other things, and the three types of tshuva that Rabbi Yishmael talked about. But nevertheless, there has to be this idea of you have to do tshuva, and it's accepted by God, right? Judaism, you're accepted according to your deeds. Tshuva, commandment, amazing commandment. Positive commandment, to do the law of the sota, which we're going to learn about that. God willing, we'll start to learn a little bit today. Difficult, complicated law. There's a whole Gemara on it. A lot of people learn it between Pesach and Shavuot. Try to finish the whole Gemara. There's 49 pages in it. You try to do a page a day. Positive commandment, not to put any oil in the offering of the sota. That's part of the procedure of the sota. She brings an offering. Is not to put any oil on it so that it won't be a rich offering. Also to put not any lavona. There was also something type of a spice, whatever they put in there. Lavona, not to put in the offering. Then there's we have another 5 more commandments which are dealing with the Nazir. The Nazir is not allowed to drink wine. He's not allowed to eat grapes. He's not allowed to even eat raisins. He's not allowed to eat the grains of grapes, etc. That's 5, okay. A negative commandment that a Nazir is not allowed to shave his hair, to cut his hair. Another commandment that a Nazir cannot go into a place where the dead person, he can't defile himself for a dead person, not even for his closest relatives. In that way, it's more severe than even a Kohen. A positive commandment that a Nazir, when he becomes, the day that he takes his Nazir, a person can take a Nazirot from anywhere 30 days and up. He can say, I'm a Nazir for that amount of time. And in that time that he is a Nazir, he is not allowed to cut his hair. But afterwards, he should cut his hair. He should cut his hair. He takes it to the Beis Hamikdash. There's a whole amazing procedure involved with that. And coming near the end, a positive commandment that the Kohanim should bless the Jewish people. We see this every Shabbos. Yivarech Hashem v'yishmerecha. There's some places that bless every day. Some synagogues, they bless every day in Israel. Yivarech Hashem v'yishmerecha. That's where this comes from. A positive commandment that the Kohanim should carry the ark on their shoulders. This is to carry it. Now, don't put it into the wagon. Someone was punished. Uzziah was punished because he put the ark in a wagon. You're not supposed to do it. You have to put it on your shoulders. If so, we have, let's say, 4 really major important commandments here in this week's portion. We have the commandment doing tshuva. Tshuva. We have that the Kohanim should bless everybody. We have the Nazir and the commandment of the Sota. Now let's look a little bit at some of the details here of the commandment. Let's start off with Bamidbar, Parshas Nasoi, chapter 5, sentence number Yud Aleph. Good? You with me? Vayedaber Hashem Moshe Lemor. If somebody wants to put this up, if not, you can just follow along. If you have a Siddur, you can. So this in the book of Numbers, chapter 5, sentence number Yud Aleph. V'yedaber Hashem al Moshe lemor, God spoke to Moses, saying, Daber al bnei Yisrael, speak to the Jewish people, v'amarta aleim, and say to them, Ish, any person, kisiste ishto, if his wife turns off, acts unusual, umala bomal, and she does something improper. Mi'ilah means to do something improper. Misuse something. V'shachav ish ota shichva zera v'nelam me'nei isha v'nistara v'hi nidma. He suspects her of having relations with another man. V'eid ein ba, there's no witness. V'hi lo nispasa, she was not forced. V'avar alav ruach kina, and the man gets jealous. V'kina es tishto, and he warns his wife. V'hi nidma, and she is impure. Or over alav ruach kina, or he becomes jealous, he warns her. V'hi lo nidma, and she is not made impure. In other words, he doesn't know. V'hevia ishet ishto al kohen, he brings the husband brings his wife to the kohen. Ve'viet korbana aleh, and he brings the sacrifice that she has to bring to the Beit HaMikdash. Asiri ta'efa kemach sa'orim, he brings 1/10 of an ephah of barley flour. Lo yitzok olav shemen, like we learned before in the laws, you shouldn't put any oil in it. Lo yiten olav lavona, you can't put any of this lavona. It's some sort of a spice, whatever. Ki minchas kinaosi, because it's supposed to be a poor offering, poor in quality. It's a offering of jealousy. Minchas zichron maskeras avon. It is a offering that reminds of a sin. This is being done because he doesn't know if his wife did a sin. If he does know that his wife did a sin, then they just get divorced. If he knows for sure. And if she was warned that she shouldn't do this, and there were witnesses, then she gets killed. She gets stoned. It's forbidden. That's adultery. But here we're talking about that no one saw her actually do anything. He warned his wife and told his wife that he doesn't want to see her being alone with Shmerel. And she goes, and there's witnesses that say that she was with Shmerel. They saw her going into a room with him. And nobody knows what happened. She swears there was absolutely nothing. He doesn't know, can't kill a person on such evidence. No evidence. So he takes her to the holy temple. He kriva kohen ve'amida lifnei Hashem, and he puts her in front of God. The kohen takes holy water in a clay vessel. Everything here has to be like of the worst quality, because to remind her how low she's gone, or at least how she's been suspected. Now, it's going to say later on that if in fact her husband's claims were unfounded, she really didn't do anything forbidden, even though she did go against his will. She said, he told her, don't be alone with this person. And she went alone with this person. So already that was going against her husband, but that's not a sin. That's not a sin. The sin is, as soon as she denies it, they take her to the temple, and then she's made to drink this water. The Kohen takes her and puts her in front of God, in front of the veil. Parat Rosha Isha, he reveals her hair. From this we learn that a woman should have her hair covered. V'notanet kapeh, he puts into her hand minchas zichron, minchas kinos, v'yad kohen v'hayu amarim, and he puts in it this bitter water. Next sentence, we're on sentence Yud Tes, we're on chapter Hey. The scary laws of the Sota. Now we're going to see later on that if in fact she was not guilty and she didn't do anything, that she gets blessed because of these waters. The waters become a blessing for her. The Kohen makes her swear and says to the woman, if lo shachav ishitach, if no man had relations with you, v'im lo satit tachatz sheikh, and you did not stray from your husband, hinaki memei amarim, then you will be clean from this water. And it says, what is it like? It's like putting salt on a wound, on a person's hand, and there's no wound there. If there's no wound, then it doesn't burn. There's nothing wrong. If there's a wound, then it burns. The key need mace, but if you did defile yourself, and you had relations with somebody other than your husband, then it's not going to be good. And he makes the woman take an oath of a curse. And the curse says, God will give you, if you're guilty, to be a curse. And you will be like an oath. I'm sorry, I skipped it. Everyone will say, don't be like that lady. She'll be the name will curse. And not only that, she dies this terrible death. Her stomach falls and etc. All right, well, then we can skip over here what the Kohen does. Let's just skip to the end so that we have a happy ending today. And it says here, Chaf Ches, sentence number 28. And if you're not impure, Isha, v'tohorahi, and she's pure, v'nikta v'nizra zara, that she will be clean and she will have children. It says her children will be more beautiful, she'll have children, etc. That's the law of the Kanaos. So let's just take just from the beginning over here. This is learned commonly from Pesach until the holiday of Shavuot, because there's 49 days. There are some people, some groups, Chabad is one of them, that they learn Pirkei Avot, that they learn Pirkei Avot until the holiday of Shavuot, up until the holiday of Shavuot. But they only learn, nevertheless, they only learn Sota up to, in Chabad, they learn Pirkei Avot up to Rosh Hashanah. But nevertheless, they learn the Gemara Sota, 49 pages, up to the holiday of Shavuot. Some people learn the Gemara Shavuot, because it also has 49 pages in it. Let's just start off here in sentence number Yud Beis. Let's just look at sentence number Yud Beis. It's long enough that we could spend the whole class on it, but we won't. Okay? Ish ki tista ishto. What does it say? Each person, ish, a man. Why does it have to say two times ish? Ma katuv l'mayla min. What is written before this? Ish et kadashav yehiyu. It talks about before about each person should bring his sacrifices, a different topic. V'im atam ma'akev matanot kohen. It says that if you delay, if you withhold the gifts that are supposed to be given to the kohen, chayecha, and be careful, shetitztarech lavo etzlo, you're going to have to go to the kohen, ulavilo sota, and you'll have to bring the sota offering. But here what it said before, the commandment before this is that when you owe the kohen, the gifts of the kohen, that you have to bring it on time. And the 8 after that, it says if you don't bring it on time, so then you'll have to go there eventually for this terrible thing about suspecting your wife. Okay, why does it say ish? That tells it why this commandment comes right after the commandment of bringing your sacrifices on time to the kohen. Why does it say 2 times the word ish? The lamedecha, to tell you, shemoelet b'shtayim, that if she goes against her husband, that she's really going against 2 men. Who are the men? Ish milchama shel maila, God, who is called a ish milchama by when the Jews went across Yam Suf. The isha milamata, and her husband below. And she not only cheated on her husband here, but she cheated also on Hashem above, and both of them are called ish. Kitiste ishto. So if a man, if his wife was, how do you say, deviated. Shanu Rabotenu, rabbis learned. Ein amenaafim noafim, that the people who are, what do we call a decadent people, are not decadent. Ad shetachnis behem ruach shtut. Kitiste ishto. In other words, a person will not do a sin unless there comes into them a spirit of craziness. Like it says, kitiste, when she goes crazy. And it also says, noaf isha chaser lev. A woman will stray from the way of modesty only because her heart goes crazy. Something's wrong inside of her. In other words, it could be that she'll dress herself up and she'll do all these things and go out at night, but to actually do the sin, she won't do it unless she becomes crazy. This, by the way, of course, in Chabad, in Bati Lagani, the previous Rebbe wants to learn that this is relevant for every Jew and every sin. A Jew will not do any sin, because any sin that a Jew does, essentially, he's being unfaithful to our husband. All the Jewish people are like a wife, and God is the husband. And Mountain Torah, that's when we got married. So a Jew that goes against the Torah is basically cheating on her husband. Every Jew. The previous Rebbe said, this law applies to every single Jew, therefore, that does a sin. A Jew cannot and will not do a sin unless he goes crazy. Because the nature of a Jew is that it is impossible for a normal Jew to do a sin. Impossible. Why do they do it? Because they go crazy. It says the same thing here. Tiste ishto. Upeshuta shel mikra, the simple meaning is, ki tiste tat midarka tzniut. Tiste means she deviated from the ways of modesty. V'tachshod be'enav. She becomes suspected in his eyes. Right? All of a sudden he sees, why is she putting on this weird perfume for? What is she dressing up, putting on this paint? Or what's going on? So he suspects her. That's what it means. Tat bidarka. He sees that she's deviating from her normal ways. Al yesha el darachim libecha. Al yeshet, I'm sorry, yeshot, should not tilt away from your heart should not incline toward her. It's talking about the enticing woman, the Yetzer Hora. Okay, so it says, a man if his wife deviates from the normal, and mala bo mal. What does it mean? Mal. What does it mean? Mal, that she misused something. She misused something holy. What does it mean? Ma'al. V'shachav ishita. He suspects that she misused one of the holiest things in Judaism, marriage. Marriage is called Kiddushin. There's a whole Gemara on it. V'shachav ishita, and that a man, had relations with another man. Says shachav ish, Rashi Yud Gimel Prat Katan. This eliminates to exclude a child. If she has relations with a child, then this law does not apply to her. This law does not apply, even though that's, of course, a terrible thing. But this particular sin does not apply to her. Ota shchivata poselet ota. Ve'en shechivat achota poselet ota. It says shochev ish ota, with her. Like there's a story with two sisters in the Holy Temple. What's the story? Once there were two twin sisters, they were very similar to one another. And the husband suspected one of them. The husband of one of them suspected her. And she was really guilty. What did she do? She went to her sister and said to her sister, listen, my husband suspects me of being unfaithful. And in fact, I was unfaithful. But I don't want to say that I was unfaithful. I don't want him to divorce me. I don't want to get, etc. The stigma. Do me a favor. You look exactly like me. You go to the temple. Don't talk. Let him take you to the temple and make you drink the water. Sure enough, he took her to the temple. She drank the water, the sister. And nothing happened. The husband said, I'm sorry. I guess I was a little bit rash. He let his wife go. Afterwards, the two sisters met each other, and they said it worked. I'm saved. And they hugged each other and they kissed. When they kissed, a little bit of the water from the sister went into the guilty sister's mouth, and she died. So it says, therefore, the water. That's what it says. Shachav ish itah. That her, if she has relations with another man, then that she gets punished, but her sister does not get punished. Ota, only with her. Vana'ala me'ala me'enishta, it gets hidden from the eyes of her husband. Ha imo ro'eh, but if you would see, me'am im, if you would see her, it says no, ma'alim, if no, ma'alim it should be. If that's what it says. If he would see her doing this, then the water would not check her. He saw her, therefore she doesn't. The water only takes care of a doubt. If there's no doubt, he saw her, then she's divorced. The nistara, what does it mean, nistara? She goes into a room and she's hidden with this other person. How long does she have to go in? It says Tera, the amount of time that it could be feasible that she could have had relations with him. The Gemara talks about it long length. The eid ein ba, and there is no witness. But if there was one witness that would say, I saw her have relations, lo yatashota, she wouldn't drink the water. She would get divorced. Eid ein ba betuma, avol yesh eidim listara. There is no witness that saw her actually have relations, but there are witnesses that come and say that we saw her go and be alone with this man. They didn't see her go. She went into a room and they closed the door. And she was not forced, like the tafsa shachavimo. She was not forced. So in other words, this is already the beginning of suspicion, and because of the suspicion, she is forced to drink the water. Tomorrow we'll learn a little bit about the Nazir. And then after that, the blessings of the Kohanim.